Turns out that being a Boeing whistleblower might just be more harmful to your health than smoking Fortnite dab carts every single day. Because not one, but two Boeing whistleblowers have now been found dead. In the same year, mind you, only like 2 months apart. The first one happened in March and the second one happened in May. Only yesterday, actually. And just in case you don't know why these people were blowing their whistles at Boeing, I'll give you the last time on Dragon Ball Z recap, because God forbid you have to go read for yourself. I wouldn't want you to do that. It all revolves around Boeing and their production line, and concerns revolving safety and just attention to quality when making their airplanes. And the reasons these concerns even popped up in the first place all date back to 2018 and 2019, when two of their planes crashed, resulting in over 300 people dying, 346 to be exact. And it was specifically two of their 737 MAX 8 jets that resulted in the deaths of these people. And as a matter of fact, after that, a new 737 MAX 9 jet was forced into an emergency landing after the cabin panel had a blowout. But that didn't result in any deaths. Honestly, it seems like Boeing's in the wrong line of business. They obviously fucking suck at making airplanes. I could make a better flying contraption with popsicle sticks and some Elmer's glue. So maybe they should just stick with being like the Mexican cartel and whacking people who sully their name, spit on their image. Because they seem to be much better at that. Those Boeing assassins don't play around. And for legal reasons, for assassination purposes, this is all alleged, and I'm joking. I'm very clearly telling jokes right now. So obviously there's a very good reason why these people would be going toot toot when it comes to Boeing and their safety concerns. John Barnett was the first person to come out. He raised the alarm in 2019 about the safety lapses at Boeing's North Charleston plant, and then he ended up killing himself from a self-inflicted gun wound. And when he died, he was 62 and had just retired from Boeing in 2017 after working there for almost 3 decades. And the specific safety concerns that he had, he said he found clusters of metal slivers hanging over flight control wiring on several planes, and he urged his bosses to remove them. Instead, it said they moved him to another part of the company's plant. So at Boeing, it really sounds like safety is their #1 priority when it comes to several ton metal flying machines. Now for the second whistleblower who has died under mysterious circumstances just 2 months after the first one who died from mysterious circumstances. His name is Joshua Dean. He was 45 and it says a former quality auditor at Boeing supplier Spirit Aerosystems, and he alleged gross misconduct by quality management. So they both had very similar allegations towards Boeing, and they both also ended up dying under very similar all-of-a-sudden circumstances. And Joshua's specific concerns were, quote, serious and gross misconduct by senior quality management of the 737 production line. But unlike John, Josh was actually fired by Spirit. He didn't retire. He got fired last year, and then he filed a complaint with the Department of Labor, alleging that his termination was in retaliation for him raising safety concerns. So instead of actually wanting to make their airplanes safe and, protect the customers who were giving them money to keep their airline company in business, they instead try to hush the people who raise safety concerns or move them to a different department or straight up fucking fire them and then maybe potentially allegedly get them murdered. All of this instead of actually trying to make their airplanes safer. It genuinely feels like flying on a paper airplane would be safer than riding in a Boeing airplane at this point. Like, it's kind of just ridiculous when you look into this. But Joshua's death was also different than John's because it wasn't a gunshot wound like your typical assassination death. He was hospitalized for having trouble breathing, to which he was intubated and developed pneumonia and a serious infection, and then ended up dying 2 weeks later. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on a timeline kind of thing, their deaths are very close together, and they both were raising the same concerns about the same airplanes, about the same company. Coincidence? If it is a coincidence, that's a damn crazy coincidence. But there actually was a third whistleblower that came out last month, who I bet now is absolutely shitting his britches after seeing what happened to the other two whistleblowers. His name is Sam Selpour, and he told Congress that there was no safety culture at Boeing, and alleges that the employees who raised the alarm were ignored, marginalized, threatened, sidelined, and worse. He says he fears physical violence after going public with his concerns. So he apparently knows that the Boeing hitmen are going to be coming for his head now. And if the other two whistleblowers were anything to go off of, I wouldn't be too surprised if we seen Sam Selpour ends up dying by some, I don't know, getting his head stuck in a George Foreman grill or something. But all whistleblower conspiracies aside, if we just look at this, the facts of this situation, two of the same Boeing airplanes went down in very similar fashion, ended up killing over 300 people. There's obviously a very gross misconduct of quality management there, exactly how Joshua Dean himself said. So there are very valid safety concerns that don't seem to be having any action taken towards them, and there are now 3 whistleblowers that worked at Boeing who are all saying the same thing, that Boeing doesn't really give a shit about safety practices. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I just seen this on Instagram that a second whistleblower had died after a short illness, after a previous whistleblower died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and I thought it smelled a little fishy. Kind of smelled like I was at the fish market, so I had to do a bit of investigating, get to the bottom of this, feel like Scooby and the gang. And I didn't get to the bottom of it. I just covered what was out in these news articles, but other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.